we're looking at parables. We're looking at stories Jesus told as teaching tools to help us understand certain key principles and behaviors and things that Jesus wants to teach us and seeds he wants to sow into our hearts. And this one today really reflects something that Jesus wants to bring about in our lives, that if we absorb it, we will essentially be taking on one of his priorities and making it a priority in our lives as well. And we find this parable in the 15th chapter of the Gospel of Luke, right there in the New Testament. Luke chapter 15, we're looking at verses 1 through 7. So starting at verse 1, it says, "Tax collectors and other notorious sinners often came to listen to Jesus teach. This made the Pharisees and teachers of religious law complain that he was associating with such sinful people, even eating with them." Now, if you're new to church, there's a lot in there that you're kind of going, what are you talking about? Let's start with tax collectors and other notorious sinners. What Luke is trying to say is people who are far from God were attracted to Jesus and wanted to hear his teaching. So they came out in droves to hear him. Now, I want to just say something. People who collect taxes in our nation in this day and age, if you work for the IRS, I'm not saying that you are a notorious sinner. Okay? And I hope the rest of us don't like step away from our friends at the IRS, okay? But in that day and age, Jewish tax collectors had a reputation for being corrupt. They were characterized as greedy and exploitive, and they cheated their own people. And so to say to start with tax collectors was just a fast track way to say just people you didn't want to be around. The wrong kind of people. So tax collectors and other notorious sinners. What does he mean? Oh, he means what you're probably thinking he means. He means prostitutes. He means criminals. He means drunkards. He means the kind of people that you would think are not the kind of people you want to be around. The kind of people who are far from God. And these people were attracted to Jesus and they wanted to hear what he was teaching. But verse 2 tells us that this made the Pharisees and teachers of religious law complain that he was associating with these people. Now, Pharisees were like priests, and then mentions teachers of religious law. So what he's saying is the religious leaders who were big time leaders in the community in that day and age, they were looking down on the fact that Jesus was spending time with these people, because Jesus wasn't just teaching them when they came to see him. He was going to their homes. He was sharing meals with them. He was keeping company with these people. And so the church people or the synagogue people of that day, they were going, look at what he's doing. He shouldn't be doing that. He shouldn't be around those people. And this really bothered Jesus, because Jesus had a whole different set of priorities, and he had a completely different kind of heart toward these people. They were a priority for him. And he wants them to be a priority for us. And so he addresses this through a story, through a parable. And this is what he says, starting at verse 3. It says, so Jesus told them this story. He's going to deal with them by using this as a teachable moment, and he's going to use the story as a teaching tool. So, verse 4, he says, if a man has 100 sheep and one of them gets lost, what will he do? won't he leave the 99 others in the wilderness and go to search for the one that is lost until he finds it? And when he has found it, he will joyfully carry it home on his shoulders. When he arrives, he will call together his friends and neighbors and saying, "Rejoice with me, because I have found my lost sheep." In the same way, this is the moral of the story, in the same way, there is more joy in heaven over one lost sinner who repents, that is to say, who turns around and walks away from their sin and starts following the Lord, who repents and returns to God, than over 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away. See, the application of this parable is simple. It's very simple. Go after the one. The one who's far from God, go after them. Go after them. So the picture he's painting here is, if you've got 100 sheep and 99 of them are safe and sound, then you're going to keep them in the pen, and you're going to make sure it's locked and secure, and you're going to leave them and go look for that one sheep that's lost. Why? This isn't so much about caring more about that one than you care for the 99. No, the shepherd cares about all of them the same. But these are safe, and that one is at risk because it's out there and it's lost and it's on its own. A predator could find it. It's a matter of urgency. And so the shepherd goes and seeks out that sheep and looks for them until they find them. He's driven by concern. He's driven by a burden because that sheep is lost. Put yourself in that position. Now, most of us are not shepherds. Anybody got sheep here? I don't know. So think about your children. I want you to imagine that you have 4 children. Now, some of you have 5 or 6, and good for you, and some of you might have 1, but you get where I'm going here. Imagine you have 4 children, 3 of them are fine, but 1 is sick. Now, you don't love the 3 any less, but you're going to spend more time caring for the sick one, right? Because you need to nurse this child back to health. As a parent, you're not going to step back and go, well, in this house, it's survival of the fittest. I don't know what you're going to do, kid, but you better get on your feet. No. You make sure the other ones have what they need, and if what this one's got is contagious, you're going to keep them away from that kid, and you're going to lean in to nursing that kid back to health. Let's ratchet it up a bit. You've got 4 kids, 3 of them are at home, and 1 is missing. 1 is missing. Now you are possessed by a desire to find that child. You can't think of anything else. You don't love the other 3 any less, but the one that's missing, you have got to find your child. It's a burden. It is a concern that weighs on your heart. Jesus is burdened about lost people. He cares about lost people because he loves all of us. And he wants everyone to be in relationship with him. And so each one who's lost, he's seeking them out. He's calling out to them, trying to lure them to himself. And he wants us to share that burden, because if Jesus cares about something, we need to care about that thing. If something matters to Jesus, it needs to matter to us. If something is one of his priorities, then it needs to be one of our priorities. And lost people are a priority to Jesus. It's one of his highest priorities.